the brush for today's shave, what I've used lately. The Whip Dog handle here, 24 millimeter resin handle. It's the tall, and I'm really enjoying that. I've got big hands. Declaration Grooming B5 knot. Very, very soft tips, and it's getting to a nice place where I like it. It's starting to have a little bit more splay and a little bit less cord density, and I'm really liking that. I'm gonna put a little water and soak the brush for a few minutes while I prep other things. You can just get it wet with your hands. This is an optional thing. And we'll be right back. All right, and the other gear, this is the Karve Christopher Bradley. It's a brass razor. It's a bead blasted, so it's not shiny. And you could polish it if you wanted to, if you had the tools, and it would look great. I've seen one polished online, and it's just a fabulous looking razor. The Nacet that I'm using is already loaded in there. This is the E plate. Can I get it to where you can see that? Holding it carefully, of course. There's the E. And I don't usually use the E when I have a younger blade, but this edge is so smoothed now that it takes an aggressive razor like this with the E guard, with the E base plate, to give me a good shave. The Nacet that we're talking about is the one I've been using for quite a while. 50 dots on this side and 26 dots on that side, so 76 uses. So today is 77. I'm not saying that the Nacet is the only blade that does that, just in case you're new to the marathoning of blades. There have been, all the popular blades pretty much have been taken quite a long distance. Gillette Silver Blue, Astra Super Platinum, Balzano, just so many good ones. Pole Silver, Feather. They've all, Nacet's not special, just takes good technique and, work. And if you have smooth razors, you're probably not going to get too far, because for some reason those the more aggressive razors put the blade at the right angle or whatever, and it really helps out. The soap, back in August, I started on this puck of Williams soap, and this is the last bit that remains, and it is wonderful. And what do I have? I've got 53 shaves on that puck of Williams. I was told in the beginning that it would only be a month's worth of soap that the typical puck provides, and a lot of this time I've been soaking it. So for those people who say that soaking wastes soap, that's kind of unfounded, it seems. You don't have to waste soap. You can if maybe you do it wrong, load too much and different things like that, but you don't have to. And I definitely have another week's worth of soap right here. So this guy's definitely going to give me 2 months of shaves, maybe more. All right. So he is starting out dry. We're not soaking him today. I know he works well if you soak him. That will save you time in the loading process. But today we're not going to soak him. And I've got my lather bowl here. It's my travel one. It's melamine, non-breakable. And I like this V shape so that when the lather goes up, I can kind of work with it and kind of bring it back down and pivot the thing and all that. And I like it. Your lather bowl does not have to have ridges and texture. This is a smooth bowl. It works great. Ridges and texture help a little bit, but if you can't afford that, don't sweat it, right? Let's see. And my brush here is ready to go. And first I'm going to splash some water on my face, kind of a pre-soak. Pre-soak on my hairs. Get them to soften up. My Declaration Grooming brush here. What do we do? I'm going to kind of get rid of some of the water. Leave some in it. Kind of a medium medium load, and we're going to load for about 45 seconds. If the puck stays stationary, if this chunk stays stationary, then 45 seconds is probably going to be good. If it starts to move around, I might have to increase that. All right, so we'll start at the 20 mark. There we go. Oh, dang it, it's moving around. I was hoping it would stick, but we'll just see what happens. I tried to press the pieces in together to make them all stick, but we'll see if we can get some. We'll stop at 45 anyway, just to see how that does. Let's see, 20 and 45 will be 5 seconds after the 0 minute. Nah, you know what? Let's go the full minute. Let's go all the way to 20 since these pucks are moving around a lot. It's kind of frustrating. Seven seconds. And there's a minute. All right. Man, I was hoping those chunks would stick together, but they didn't. When I've worked with moving pucks in the bottom of a mug, I loaded for a minute and a half and it still wasn't enough. I still had to go back to the puck between passes. All right, so I'm just going to start. Depending on how much water I left in the brush, may have to add water to the lather, we'll see. It is kind of airy right away. It's okay. Just push through it. Keep mixing. Williams is a good soap, good performer, super slick. Sometimes it's a little fussy. Some people don't push through that airy lather and they think that's what you need to shave with. And then of course they're going to get a horrible shave without much protection. I also find that it's usually best to come at it not with a dry brush, but with a medium wet brush. See, look at that already. Look pretty decent. And sometimes you just got to beat the heck out of it. It looks like I should add a little bit of water. Fill up my syringe and add maybe we'll add half a teaspoon. That might be all I need. Looking pretty good. Looks like I was able to get enough soap loaded onto the brush. Lots of lather available. We can take a feel of it with fingertips. A little bit of cushion. Fairly watery in terms of slickness when I'm feeling my fingerprints. But I can just feel the ridges. So that might be about right. Let's just shave with this. It didn't take long to whip together at all. Let's hope it's not too thin because of all the moving around soap particles. Cut myself on some glass, my pinky. Every time I rinse and dry my hands, it's going to hurt. All right. 1 day growth. Water here at this location is nice. It's soft, so shouldn't have any hard water problems, but Williams does well either way. See, I have a shiny forehead. All right. Get my face wet a little bit. And let's see what happens. This brush has been used about 16 times. If the lather's thin, then this brush will kill it. But I'm starting to see those pieces of lather kind of come off the side of the brush. I think that's usually a good sign. Yeah, looks good. Really soft brush. Yeah, good lather. Use some of the, you can kind of roll the brush like that, get some of the side lather off. Don't really need very much. All right. All right. So, what was that? This is use number 77. No pulling, no irritation as I do the first pass. I can feel it move through the hairs. I don't really feel the blade edge. But I do feel, I feel it just a hair, just a little bit. Very comfortable. It's not really smooth, but it's very comfortable. Nothing would bother. I think a lot of people might abandon a blade when it feels this way, but it's kind of not necessary. There we go, first pass. And the other two will be really smooth. I'm gonna rinse. All right, get up more of this lather. This brush is so dense, I feel like I kind of have to do more of a plunge so that it kind of fills the inside of the brush a little bit more with the soap. Yeah, that's a good lather. Feels good. Doesn't smell too much. The smell is long gone because this puck I've kept out in the open. And you know, I'm looking at what 53 shaves with it, so that's how many kind of days it's been out in the open. So the scent has dissipated. It was an irritating citronella scent the first 4 or 5 days, but that didn't last long before it weakened enough to where it was just a pleasant soapy scent. All right. And there we go. I learned a lot of the paths around my face, the angles to come at that really help the hairs to get cut in the best way. This brush being so dense, I don't think it helps to build a creamy lather from Williams. I think a more a brush like a 3-band silver tip badger or something is going to have a with less density, is going to just allow more soap to kind of get in there and get mixed up. I've got plenty of soap, so if the face looks a little thin, now this is definitely shaveable and a good slick layer, but I can just put a little bit more on if I feel like it. No problem with what's on my face already. I just felt like a little bit more luxury. All right, what? Third pass. So at this point in the blade's life, the thing you kind of have to worry about is not really irritation. It could be tugging, but I don't think so. I think what I am going to be facing as the next kind of challenge is just the quality of the cut. You know, getting a nice close shave. Does it cut the hairs flush? That kind of thing. Not really stretching my hairs, my skin too much. Very comfortable. Very nice. And pause you for a rinse. So in actuality, this might have been the perfect amount of loading for this brush and this soap, because I do like to have a little extra. So now I've loaded up for my, I've done the third pass. I'm going to do the neck only pass. Got plenty. I didn't need this much lather on my brush for this pass. And this is a soft brush. All right. Light touch on the razor. I'm not holding it with a wide grip that gives me leverage. Don't want that. Close, tight up grip. See, the razor is able to move. And if I make a mistake and come at a hill on my face with a little too much pressure, then the razor has room to flex away from that and not deliver that much pressure to my skin. Just enough pressure to keep the blade on the skin, especially at this point, since it's the 4th time that I'm shaving this area. I don't feel like there's enough lather right there, so I'm not going to shave over it. If I need to do another touch-up pass, I will. All right, I'm going to pause you while I take a look. Pretty good shave. Got still a good many tips there where I can see some length. So let's hit those guys again with one more touch-up pass. It's a nice sheen on that lather, if you can see it. A lot of people don't know that Williams can make this kind of lather, but it's just not a problem. All right. Now, strategic pass here. A little buffing so that I can kind of watch, see how it behaves. That's looking good, I think. Not as concerned about my Adam's apple. I'm usually pretty happy with that. Kind of put some soap back on with the top cap there. And there we go. Probably about as good as I'll do right there. All right, I'm going to rinse again. Excellent. Really happy with that result. The maybe a couple of hairs have some length on them. Most of them are cut flush. See a few dots, meaning that the tip is pretty much all I see. The very top of the hair and not any of the sides. So that's a great shave. I'm sure we're talking about the 77th use now, and you might have to do an extra touch-up pass. I think in the future, if I wasn't on my first time trying, seeing how far I could take this blade, I might quit by now. Just because blades are cheap, and if it takes a couple extra touch-up passes, that might be my stopping point in the future. We'll see. I'm going to try to get to 100 and see what happens. All right, so it turns out this was kind of the perfect amount of soap for this shave. Just a little bit extra, kind of a whole nother pass right there, really. The lather performed really well, and I hit this area here 5 times. Nice protection from the soap. Williams is very slick. If you don't think it is, then you haven't mixed it right. All right. I'm going to shut her on down here and clean everything up. In terms of a budget soap, I believe Arco probably represents a better budget soap. It's about the same price as Williams, but I think it lasts a lot longer. You get a lot more for your money. The thing is, it comes in stick format. I think maybe it comes in cake or puck format, but most of the time people get the sticks. Well, it's very pungent, lemony, industrial kind of scent, and a lot of people don't like that. You're probably one of them. But I shredded it with any hard soap. You can shred it. Put it out in the open on a cookie sheet, or I had 2 paper plates. Those are the right amount to do that with. And for the first 4 days, it stunk up my room. Not good. But after 2 weeks, the smell had died down to a nice soapy scent that was pleasant. And that's what I have in, I have another one of these Maggard's black tubs, and that's what I put it in. And it filled up about half of this tub. And it performs better than Williams, probably. Definitely easier to lather. And so I think it beats William in that category. It just requires a little work to let it air out if you don't like that scent. Just like Williams, though, if you do have a bottle of aftershave that you like to use, you can take the shreds and put them in whatever container you're going to use, and then pour the aftershave in. You have to wait for a few days for the alcohol to evaporate, and then stir it a couple times a day. And then when it starts to get hard, then you know you're nearing the end, and just pack it on down at the very end when the alcohol's gone, and you have a great scent that is now part of a great performing soap. I've done that with Williams before, and I'm going to do it with Arco soon. All right. So very happy with the shave. Even though the puck pieces kind of came apart and started moving around, it was still able to have enough room and leverage to get enough soap onto the brush. So really happy about that. That has gone poorly in the past when I had a deeper mug that I was dealing with. All right. So here's the blade, and this is the business side. I'm using the same side for the whole time. I haven't flipped it over yet because I'm curious when I get to the very end and I'm about to pitch the blade, I'm going to flip it over and see if there's any difference, see if it's an improvement. That'll be fun to see. And because the other side is a little more clean. And I don't do anything extra to the blade. I just dry it very carefully. And I don't even dry it if I know I'm going to use that razor the next day and I'm at home. I'm traveling, so I need to put it back in a safe place here in the little envelope. But I just patted it dry very carefully with a washcloth, and so it's ready to be stored now. I don't put alcohol or anything like that on it. That might help, but I'm just not doing it this time. And I'm getting a nice long life out of it. Just cleaning my razor parts here. While we're here, I'll just show you the parts to the Bradley razor. Here's that top cap. Has the cutouts here. I like them. I think it adds nice style. Then this is the post and the two alignment posts, which do a great job of keeping the blades perfectly centered. No need to check them out. No need to realign or anything like that. Here's that E-plate. Nice and thick and tall and aggressive. And this guy just fits on there nicely. Plenty of room for the water and suds to rinse away. And here's a 3.5-inch handle. This grip is just perfect. It has just enough feel for you to be able to have a secure grip, whether your hands are soapy and wet. No problem. However, when you're not soapy and wet, it's smooth. It's not biting into your hands like some kind of aggressive knurling pattern. So really good, nice work on that design of that handle. And I find the 3-inch looks a little too short for me, and it also put the balance a little too close to the head for my preferences. And so I ordered the 3.5-inch handle. Perfect. So I just dropped my brush on a towel, and then I kind of pulled the hairs down to each side because there's just so much hair in here, so dense, that if it's all up close and together, that the center can become pretty stiff. And despite the soft tips, it can kind of be uncomfortable for me. So by doing this, so far, it's been a great result for me. And with this lather, it was terrific, great feel, wasn't uncomfortable. The density here wasn't pushing my face around as I switched gears. And so it was tremendous. I'm really glad that it's going that way. Very happy with it. One of my favorite things to use when I'm traveling is Old Spice because my wife doesn't like the scent. Thinks it makes me smell like an old man. And so I use it when I'm away. And it's alcohol based. It can let me know if I had some problems with my shave, and I had no stings at all. Looks like my technique was good. Happy about that. I didn't, one of the temptations is to push a little harder on the razor head so that you, when it's smooth and dull like it is now, relatively dull. I mean, it's still cut hairs, right? But the temptation is to push, to try to get those hairs, and sometimes that can cause irritation and abrasions that you shouldn't do. So keep it light. Do more passes. More light passes is better than fewer pressure passes. All right.